All right, all right. What's up? It's the man Big Jack here. Welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. This is where we prove we are stronger together, that if we can all grow and grow. And I'm super excited about today. For what going on for a brief second, I gotta give me a second because I'm having some feedback going on. So give me 1 second. I can hear myself. So pause for a second for me. I'm not sure if I got it. I believe I got it. So that's not a problem. So sometimes we have that. So right now I'm still fighting some technical difficulties, and yeah, give me a second. Okay, did I get it? Hope I got it. All right. Anyway, welcome again to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm your man, Big Jack. We're gonna wrestle and tussle and all, but one thing for sure, I'm not gonna let you see me sweat. So I don't get caught up in all that mix and match. But right now, just to let you know, I'm glad to be here. We do still have the 90-day Grow and Glow challenge going, so I want to put that up on the screen if I can do that. And we got that going on right now. So for the next 90 days, and I think we're like 5 or 6 days into the show, we're going to visit 3 channels. We're watching their long form video. We're going to leave a comment, and then the hashtag Grow and Glow together in the comments. And it's just a challenge to try to prove that we are stronger together, and that if each one would just reach one, we can all grow and glow. So I'm having a wonderful time right now visiting all these different channels, going in and looking at these videos and meeting new people. So come on with me, get in there and get with me, and that's all grow and glow. The big thing about this challenge right here is it doesn't cost you anything. It's a little bit of time to reach out, meet new people. Hit that subscribe button if you like what they got. Hit the like button, let them know about their videos, and then you're building a new community. So it's awesome to be able to do. We're like 7 days into this right now. I'm having fun. And we also pulled the wheel back out. So I got the wheel of names, and we're adding every channel that I go to. I add a name to the wheel, and then everyone that put hashtag Grow and Glow, and I see it, Grow and Glow together, and I see it, I add their name to the wheel. So at the end of this month, and then at the end of each month leading up to the 90 days, we're going to give away 5 prizes to the whatever names come up on the wheel. So 5 prizes at the end of September, October, and November. So looking forward to it. So make sure you hit that hashtag Grow and Glow together, and then that way you can get your name added to the wheel. But with all that being said, we'll take that. We get that part out the way. Let me get my man up on the stage so we can get this show kicked off. So give me 1 second. All right, my man, Walt Talks. What's up, my brother?
My man, what's happening, Big Jack? How you doing, sir?
Wrestling this alligator over here because
Hey, man.
Technical difficulties.
Hey, man, they're just trying your patience, man.
Oh,
yeah. You make it look too easy, so every now and then the universe wants to see you sweat just a little bit.
I ain't gonna let them see me sweat. So
yeah,
look, man, how's it been going for you? How's everything going?
Good day, man. Today was a good day. Got to do my future part-time job and playing golf.
Okay. You said a future part-time job.
Well, yeah, it's going to be part-time because I definitely can't make a career out of it. But, I was hitting it pretty well today. I'm scrambling pretty good. So that's what it is.
No, that's good. That's good. I need to get back out there. So I need to, it's been so long, man. Whew. So, but we got a wonderful show today. We got
absolutely
an awesome guest we're going to put up on the stage, and hopefully we have, without a doubt, have a good conversation. So are you ready to get our guests up on the stage?
Let's get it. Let's make it happen, sir. Let's go.
Yeah,
let's get it ready to rumble. Let's get it on.
Let's get it on. I like that. Let's see, we got it. All right. Welcome to the show, Miss Davina Lyons. How you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you.
Welcome to the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I'm Big Jack Storytime, and my man Walt Talks over here.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening.
This is where
Glad to be here.
Well, thank you, thank you. This is where we prove we are stronger together. So that's the motto of the show is we're stronger together. That if each one could reach one, we can all grow and glow. So that's what we're all about. And now we have you on the stage. Not one to even hesitate and get this show moving. So if you can, please tell us a little bit about yourself and so we
Okay.
can go on.
Okay. I'm Davina Lyons. I'm a teacher. I'm a speaker, and I'm a founder of Rising Resilience. And my passion is showing people that resilience is born out of the hardest parts of your stories. So that's my main thing is helping people see the silver lining, so to speak.
Oh wow. Okay.
All
All
right.
right. So the fact that you're saying stories, you right down my alley. So I like stories. So story
That's
time
right.
like stories. So
That's right.
um is it just any stories or is it the hard times and is that where you're looking for? Like you went through something and then your story is how you're gonna come out. So please explain a little bit how does it rise in what is it, resilience? Yes,
Yes.
rising.
Yes.
Explain that a little bit to me, please.
So rising resilience really is I'm a resiliency coach. I help people come through hard times, but actually it started with me wanting to help my students in the classroom because one of the things I realized is that a lot of my students were struggling. They didn't have the stamina. And as you know, so many things have happened. And as time goes on, the young people aren't like they used to be, so to speak, because our society isn't like it used to be. And so there's a lot more that they face. And so I started realizing that they weren't resilient, that they give up very quickly. So, Rising Resilience itself, my organization is really for parents, for teachers, and for students. But I've taken it beyond that because I've done a lot of work with women, and I had a women's organization prior to this, and so I realized that my love for helping other women is just as important. And as I sat back and I thought about it, although not everyone can be your customer or your audience, we all need resiliency. We all need to be able to bounce back and move forward. And so, with resilience as the business and working with young people, I help educators, I help students in the classroom, and I also work with parents who also struggle. And so that's one aspect of it. But the other aspect in general is just helping people who have gone through experiences be able to process those experiences and heal from them. And I just see storytelling and writing, journaling as one of the best ways to overcome some of your situations and be able to self-reflect and see your growth. So that's kind of how we I evolved to where I am now.
Okay. All right. So what grade I guess the teacher, you're a teacher, but what grade are you teaching and what subject or is it all
I
subjects?
am an eighth grade English language arts teacher.
Okay.
So again, there's a lot of writing, there's a lot of reading and writing, but eighth grade is just a really special grade for me because it's their last stop as a middle schooler, and now they're going to go to high school, and I have a chance to speak positive, affirmations and help them to uh, start planning for their future, even though they're young. But once you hit high school, things get real. You
Yes.
know.
Mm. No, that's that was probably one of my hardest times, and I probably needed you as a coach back in the day when Big Jack story time was in seventh grade. I failed English. Oh, I failed seventh grade three times. So
Ooh.
I failed in English and math was my two subjects that I kept failing. So
Mhm.
how did that work? I failed it. I went to summer school, failed it. Went back to seventh grade, failed it, and then I finally got through. And the biggest part was, and I was at that point of giving up. I was at that point of,
Mhm.
I couldn't see my way through, and my mom, she's in the chat and she's a very strong person as far as helping me and pushing me and you need to go to school and this and that. But when you're fighting within yourself and you don't see that way, you can't see that light at the end of the tunnel.
Right.
But seventh grade, but in eighth grade, it clicked. It's like,
Turned
boom.
around.
So, and it was, and so I can understand what you're
Mhm.
saying there, and I can
Mhm.
appreciate it. So now, when you're talking to a kid in school, and I'm in
Mhm.
that boat, I can't see, the light at the end of the tunnel. I can't see, and I understand you saying write it down, but what am I writing down? Am I writing down I can't see that light? Am I writing down what I want to see? I mean, what would you tell me to do? I'm that seventh grader looking for an answer.
Right, right. Well, a big part of overcoming any struggle really is to self-reflect, to become more self-aware and to self-reflect. With the young people, I talk to them more than I tell them to write. The writing, and this is I have a program called Write to Rise. That's really more for adults or teens, young adults, but older, younger, seventh, eighth grade. What I teach in the classroom, it's really about having good communication with them and building relationship. And I think that the reason why my programs for teachers as well and parents is because it does take a village. It's not about just you just said your mom was a big support for you, but also when you can get your mom on the same page with your educators and now you have a better system and you're able to overcome whatever it is you need to. But the first step is let's reflect on it. So, what is going on? And oftentimes, educators maybe don't have the time, and I do think some teachers are really good at this, is finding out what's going on because there's always something going on. There's something. I always ask, I told my students, listen, all behavior is communication. I don't care whatever you're doing, you're communicating with me. So what are you trying to tell me? What is it that I need to know? And that often opens up amazing doors. And I build relationships with my students that are they're healthy, but I empower my young people by communicating with them and allowing them to communicate with me. So I think that's where it would start. There was something happening with you, Big Jack Story Time, at that time in your life, and maybe it's something that you worked through, but you have to have, and maybe you do have a teacher in mind, someone that helped you, someone that got through to you, or someone that engaged you enough that you were ready now to take it serious. So that type of reflection is I think key.
No, you're right. I know the teacher. I've talked about her on my show. I actually did definitely one of my little videos about her because it was I had Miss Newman. I'll say Camille Newman was my eighth grade. I guess she
Mhm.
was like social studies teacher, but she
Yeah,
hit that. She hit whatever that mark was, and it's like bam, and the light. You say the light just came on, and it like made sense, and I had hope. See, that's the thing a lot of people don't realize, and I'm hoping that's what you give out with the students, because you get to the point that you just lose hope. You don't
right.
feel that I can't get to the next level, I can't make it, I'm not going to make it. And you hear a lot of people, because you do, you hear a lot of people telling you that, I was a product of a single parent household, African American male living in the Washington D.C. area. So
Right.
all of these things were saying what's why you can't be successful, and then to have one person really come along and say you can do it, and that's what I needed that. So it's great to have a program like what you have. So
Mhm.
is your program nationwide? Is your program just in your district? How's it, or just your school? How's the program work?
So right now it is probably more local, but it is nationwide as people respond, and maybe this show will help that happen. But most definitely, I'm still in the classroom. I'm still full time in the classroom. So I'm hoping to get more exposure. I'm hoping, and I have materials and tools that I will be providing and have for resources for teachers nationwide. So yeah, we can say nationwide. Let's say that for
Okay.
sure.
I like that. I like that. So
Yeah.
now, do you have like, are you on like YouTube or Instagram? Do you use social
Mhm.
media as a way to build your platform and
I
promote your
do.
work? Okay.
I
Oh, that's
do. I do. I am on YouTube. And again, I am growing and this is a fantastic opportunity to get the word out because when you're trying to do your full-time thing and you're trying to build something. I've been at it for a long time. I've done workshops and I've worked with women for years. I launched in 2018 a whole different again coaching and working with women. But over time I realized, hey, really, I need to get to the kids. And I say that because one day, I had an epiphany that I need to be what I needed when I was that age. And then it all fell into place. I was working with women and have been working with women. Authentic Me was a program that I did for years. And I'm like, okay, what about these young girls that need to understand a few things before they get to the stage of womanhood? So I decided to sort of turn my attention more to younger people, but giving them opportunities to see some things earlier. Let's collapse the time frame. Let's not wait until you've had a lot of. You don't have to experience everything. So that's where I am now. Is just really focusing in on younger people.
Gotcha. Okay, I like that. So, did you ever go through something? I mean, I know a lot of times the kids will tell you, you don't know, you don't understand, you don't know what I'm going through. So, do you have any stories that you could share that the audience might be listening to, so you can prove that you can relate to them?
Yes, yes. I have, I have many, but I will say that I want to think about probably the most devastating season in my life was the fact that as a young woman, newly married, I lost my first baby,
Mm,
and then 2 years later, my second baby. Another 2 years went by. Every other year, I lost my babies, and to a total of five. And the last baby there was a 9 year gap. So I really thought I was out of the woods and that this time it would happen. And I mean, I was pregnant. I carried my babies up to like 5, 6 months. And then my body thinks it's time for them to be born, but it's not true. The oven was turning off too soon. And I didn't understand it, but over those years, it cost me a lot. And it was extremely hard for me to rationalize. But from that, I still moved forward. I still lived my life. It may have ended a marriage. It was just one of those things where I couldn't understand it, but I realized that when you wake up in the morning, you have two choices. To me, every decision, every choice you make is about life or death. Not to
That's true.
sound grim, but that's
Oh,
exactly what I told myself. When I wake up every day, it's about the choices I make. Am I making choices that lend to me living or to dying? And
right.
so from that, I realized that I built a level of resilience in that I wasn't going to let anything stop me from doing what I need to do. And so with that, though, I was blessed after the fifth baby. I was blessed that I became the mother of another of a child that was from another, and I got him. He was 8 months old, and he's also a relative. So I raised him, and my son, who in fact turns 28 years old tomorrow, has been a huge blessing. I mean, he's become my anchor. He taught me that there was purpose in my pain. There
mm,
was. It's okay because he was going to need me, and I had to be available. And that is once I started seeing those types of patterns in my life, I started seeing that when I would go through something and I came out on the other end, how good it was. I was like, oh, okay, I get that. So that's a lot of why I have the attitude that I have, and that's a lot of why as I experience things, I don't take it the same way as others. I'm already looking for what's going to come out good on the other side because I know how it works. I
mm.
hope that makes sense.
Oh, that
Totally.
makes complete sense.
Perfect sense. Yes.
Definitely condolences to your losses and all, but to hear how you overcame that, where the first one could be devastating. I mean, and to go through it again, and but to it's almost like your body is failing you. It's like it's
Right.
failing me, or it is confused because a lot goes on during the producing of a child. I mean, you think of all that your body went through and then the mind and all of that, and for you to come out, on top of that situation. So when you got into the adoption, I would look at was it adoption,
Hmm.
kinship
Hmm.
adoption. And
Hmm.
was it one of those where you went to the family member because you saw that they needed help, or they came to you, or was it just how did that come about?
It was a bit of both. It was a bit of both. We worked it out together. My family, we love each other, and whereas if one of us isn't able to do what they need to do, we were going to step up. And I definitely, at that time, I think she wanted me. She knew what I had been through, and she had been there with me, and my first cousin, and she wanted to make sure that I was. That I was able to be a mom, and at the same time I wanted to make sure that she felt okay. So it's always been very open and a very loving situation, never anything negative. And my son has he blessed me, and life went on, but everybody was always aware of what was going on.
Right. Okay. Well, happy birthday tomorrow to your son. Well, you just say happy
Jordan,
birthday
happy
to him.
birthday,
Jordan, happy birthday,
Jordan.
Jordan.
All
Yes,
right. So happy birthday to him, and that's
yes,
that's awesome. That again, the story, because I like I say, you said 5 times, and that's
yeah,
amazing in itself, and then for you to still, you pull through it. I mean, you can see, like I said, I can see there was a purpose for it all. If nothing else,
absolutely.
preparing you for your son, and raising your son. Now, you said that the marriage failed. I don't want to get too deep in it, but so how did that come up? Was it you think it was because of the losses?
No, I don't think I know.
Oh,
He pretty much told me. So
oh wow,
I
wow.
can laugh about it now because it's been a lot of years. But yeah. So no, this my it was just he wanted a family. He wanted a child, and he wanted and his life didn't turn out the way he wanted regardless, but that's on him. But I can tell you that at the time I was young too, and I was like, um I want to adopt, and he's like, I don't. And
Mm,
that was that. And
wow.
so,
No.
and then other things happen, of course, that I'm not going to go into, but
Right.
the bottom line is that I realized that I was a strong person a long time ago. And I realized again that I wanted to live, and wanted to live metaphorically. I want to live more abundantly. So for me, it's all about the choices I make. And so I always continue to make good choices as far as I'm concerned,
Right.
and I can say that now that I'm pretty proud of a lot of the choices that I made, and well, no one's life is perfect. I
At
can
all.
say that it all of the rough patches, all those things, I can look back on every one of them because I've done the work. I've journaled. I've done what I need to do to be good with me and good with where I am today.
Mm,
That's where I want to share that with others. I want other
right.
people to get to that point and understand that secret sauce.
Right. Wow.
Wow.
That's cool. It really is. Not so much the story is amazing, but just your spirit, your attitude towards it to me is what is cool. Like I say, it's about now. I wanted my pain, my experience. I want to share with you so that you can get through. So, like I say, everyone don't have to go through, but I went through to be able to understand and come out of it. So now you're talking to an adult. So I'm a parent, and I got a kid who's struggling. What could you do for me? How would you help me as a parent who can't get their kid straight and get them upright and do the right thing?
Yeah. Well, from taking the approach of coaching, not telling, I ask questions. And oftentimes you ask the right questions and you let people answer those questions. So, for instance, kids need structure. The first thing I look for is what is the structure in the home? Is there, and it may sound old fashioned, but it's important, is there a bedtime? We have
Mm,
kids
Right.
up all night playing video games, and
Right.
that means they're going to come to school tired as all get up. They're not going to pay attention. They're going to fall asleep. I mean, where is the structure? What types of conversations are you having? Is there homework time carved out, or time to read, or what time do we have dinner? Do we sit down and have dinner at the same time? I mean, there's so many things that have sort of gone by the wayside in the family system. And also we have the era of gentle parenting. So we have all of these parents that I don't want to treat my kid the way I was treated. Well, I get that because I didn't treat mine the way I was treated either. However, I struck a good balance. I figured it
Right.
out. And my son was video games was his thing too. So some of what I talk about now, I have to be honest and transparent and say, I had to do better. I learned. I'm not coming from a place of, oh, I was this perfect, my kid had to be. No, my son, I had to make him go to bed because he loved video games. And, there are certain things that, and there's some nights he fell asleep. I fell asleep before him. So he probably
Right.
did play all night. But I can tell you this. I held him accountable for what he produced at school, and I communicated with his teachers, and I made sure that there's a consequence if you did not do what you're supposed to do.
Mhm.
And any of his teachers that ever listen would say, I communicated. And that's what I'm looking for. And that's what I want parents to do is that join the village, talk to the teachers, show up to the parent teacher conferences, show up. I know we're all busy and we're all working, and some of these kids are letting themselves in and out, but at the same time, you have to prioritize your child, because there's a point by which they won't need you, and then you don't want that point to be too soon. You want them to get to adulthood successfully and be productive citizens, and that's the tough part right now in society.
Okay.
So,
All right. Go ahead, Walt.
just to go back and touch back on, you said that some of the kids are staying up late, they having
Mhm.
dinner together. Maybe I missed it. Without being too specific, I guess, or you can certainly tell us if you like. Where are you? Tell me about these kids. Are they inner city kids? Are they suburban kids? Are they middle class kids? Are they not having breakfast in the morning? You know, what types of challenges are you facing with these kids? I'm just trying to. I mean, because let's be clear. Eighth grade. I was in eighth grade too, a long time ago. But uh, that's pretty much, if I recall, and it's been a while, that that's about the time where if you have activities, you're in football, basketball, extracurricular activities, and if you're not, that's about the time you start gravitating to the street.
Right,
So my question to you, and that's when the gang start grabbing you, and the old kids start well, they wouldn't grab us because they would keep us away from it, so to speak. But
right.
so what challenges are these kids having away from home? And that's the first part. And away from school, excuse me. And the second part is they all talk about they want to be uh, uh, an individual, but there's no one more alike than eighth grade kids pretty much all over the world. They pretty
Right,
much lose
right,
their minds about that time. Junior high, middle school is kind of like the time you lose your mind. And,
right.
and especially I got a buddy, he said, he used to fight his son and taking a shower, brushing his teeth, doing his thing. His hygiene wasn't the best, and one day he was clean and suited and booted, and he asked his son, "Okay, what's her name?" And he's like, "What are you talking about? There's got to be a girl involved somewhere because
Yeah, yeah,
you,
yeah,
you're
yeah,
taking care of yourself here." So
yeah.
tell us about your kids that got you started down this road.
Yeah. Well, I'm in Arizona.
Okay.
I've taught in the inner city, not like inner city Chicago or inner
Hmm.
city DC or any of that. It's Arizona. However, I've still pretty much taught in suburban Arizona.
Okay.
So I've not dealt with a lot of, I haven't had students that were necessarily out there in those streets and having issues like that. But
Hmm.
I will say that much of what I talk about is universal. The
Okay.
structure is universal. The what is expected and for parents to show up for their kids, that's universal.
Basic stuff.
But you're right, kids, the environment they're in. I'm in a kind of a I don't know if I'm gonna call it too much of a small town. I'm
Hmm.
not in Phoenix. I'm in Maricopa, which is 16 miles off the highway and sort of like a desert
Okay.
area. But with these kids, and I've taught in other areas in Arizona, they're all the same at the end of the day.
Right.
They can't figure out, do I want to carry my teddy bear to school or do I want to vape in the bathroom? I mean,
Right.
it's like you said, it is what it is across the country and in the world. that age is a special age. Things are changing in their
Yes.
bodies. They're,
Bodies, right.
so with all of that, I don't think that the message to parents is all that different. I
Okay.
think the challenges may be different, but at the end of the day, again, that word, I love that word, structure, because kids crave it. Kids need it. They need parents to show up. I have friends, adult friends that say, you know what, I was an A student all the way up until the moment that my parents decided that my report card didn't matter. And it
Wow.
really is telling that, you know, when somebody is saying to you, and I have students that right now they come to me, Miss, what can I do to get my grade up? I
Right.
cannot bring anything less than an A home.
Mm,
So if they're on the edge, like they got 81% or I mean 89%, they're like,
mm,
I need to have 92,
mm,
91.
mm,
I can't miss. Give me some extra credit. And I can say, well, you didn't do well on your test. However, there's always an opportunity to bring it up. So when a kid comes to me like that, I know what their
yeah.
home life is.
Right.
I know the type of parents we're dealing with.
Right.
But when I have a kid who comes to me and they failed the test, and I say, I'm going to give you an opportunity to retake it. And this is where the notion of lack of resiliency comes from.
Right.
No, I'm good.
Yeah.
No, you don't get it. You may not pass. I'm good.
Mm,
And that's when I have the conversation. This is when we have the one to one, and I pull them away and say, you're not good.
right.
And you may think you are because right now your 13-year-old mind tells you you are,
Mm,
but I need you to be good. So I'm going to do my job and I'm going to allow you to retake this test and I'm going to make sure you do it. And so that's a conversation then that I need to have with a parent. Okay, you know, Johnny doesn't want to retake a test and he's failing. So, what can we do at home? How can you and I work together? How can we partner to make sure that he values or she values education a little bit more? What's happening at home? Do we have so that's where the conversations are usually very much so based on the situation or the circumstance that the child is in or whatever I see presenting. What I want other educators to do is to make sure that they carve out the time to have those discussions. Don't look at a child and count them out. Don't look at a
right.
child and say, Johnny doesn't care, and neither do I, because I got 39 more to look at. I mean, I right now my class size is 35 students.
Mm,
So that's a lot of bodies to keep up with. But every day they walk in the class, you have an opportunity to get to know them better at different times. And you find out what they're interested in and you ask them questions and you take a moment to share a bit of who you are. And man, they'll do the rest. They
right.
will. Just show them you care. That's all you
And
have to
I was to say, and you said it was 35 in your class,
do.
and that's just first period.
Correct.
You're right.
That's
You're right.
right.
So
You got
it's second
that.
period and it's third period. So
Yeah, yeah,
that's
yeah.
35
I
times
got four
five.
of those.
All right, you got four of
Right.
them. Okay.
Wow.
So
And a
yeah,
lot of teachers have
don't
five.
confuse. Yeah, you
Yeah,
only got 35. So 35 times 4 or 5 periods of
correct.
that. Yeah.
That is
So
correct.
now I was going to ask you that. I knew you was talking, and we appreciate you and thank you for your service as being a teacher. A lot of
Oh,
times people
Absolutely.
don't get the respect that they deserve. So thank you for being a teacher and
thank
a
you.
caring teacher. That what it sounds like you care about the students and
Yes.
you want the parents to be involved. How
Mhm.
does it work with your peers? How does the other teachers, are they looking at you like you rogue, or is it let me jump
No,
on board and help?
no. Well, I'm going to take this moment to shout out my school and my colleagues are amazing. I'm
Great.
going to tell you right now, I work with some very caring people, but we also are on a teams model. So each of us, I actually lead one team, and then there's another eighth grade teacher that leads the other team, and that's half of the eighth grade student body. And we have the same thing for the sixth grade and the seventh grade. So I have 130 to 140 students on my team, and the other team has about the same. And then there's a social studies teacher. Of course, I'm ELA. And then we have the math and the science teacher. We are a team, and we meet daily to discuss what's going on with our students, to look at their academic progress. So we have that time carved out. So my school district in Maricopa is very supportive of that team's model. great principals. So I just happen to be pretty blessed. I know not every educator has, that story, but I will say that, yeah, a lot of what I talk about, I see happening at my school because we believe in supporting our students and in making sure that they are, we're collaborative and that they belong. And so, yeah, I'm in a good spot.
So help me with ELA. What is
English
ELA?
language arts. That's just
English
the
language arts.
acronym
Okay,
for English language
gotcha.
arts.
I told you it's
Yeah.
been a while.
No,
And
I know.
as with you're in Arizona,
Yes.
so is English the second language for a lot of your kids? Or
Question. I wouldn't say a lot, but there's a
Mhm.
good number, and it depends on the school you're in. But yeah,
Okay,
we definitely have, and they call those ELLs. Everything's an acronym, but
right.
uh, English language learners. We
Okay,
have, we definitely have teachers for that, and all the schools has support in that area. But they are also those students are mainstream in our classrooms. They're
okay.
learning alongside first language English speakers. So it doesn't, and they learn that way. But yes,
So you mentioned soft parenting, I think is what you call it.
gentle
Gentle,
parenting. That's
gentle
like a
parenting. Yeah,
buzzword.
my mom and dad are gone, but yeah, they would be laughing
Right.
right now, for that one. So with all of the technology that they have, right,
Yes.
all the access to information,
Yes.
um, the video games and everything. Hey, I play video
Right.
games. I'm a Madden guy myself, so I get it.
Right.
But there was a time, if you send a kid to their room, and I sound like the old guy in the room, even though I am, I mean, like I can't go out, man. That's like a problem. I mean, that's like, oh my
Right.
God, I can't leave the house.
Right.
So, but now, go to your room. I mean, I got everything I need. I got a 32-inch TV. I got video games. I have my phone. I got Wi-Fi. I mean, I'm good.
Okay.
So,
Yeah. Yeah.
like,
Well,
are those
listen.
challenges too, or am I just imagining that?
Let me tell you.
Hmm.
So, if I were coaching you and you have a child and that's
Hmm.
all those things are in the child's room, well, the all those things need to come out of the child's
Oh, well,
room.
they would be in my room. Yeah, they would be in my room. Yeah.
Right.
If I
You
had
know,
that problem, yeah, I mean,
yeah.
they'd be probably broken in half. Yeah, they'd be done. They'd be locked up in my room
My
somewhere.
son
Yeah.
got to the point where if he got in trouble in school, this was
Hmm.
hilarious. I mean, the day he did this, I thought, okay, I guess I need to change up my modality here. But
Hmm.
he came out of the room with all his games and everything boxed up and just handed me the box before
There
I
You
you
even said
go,
it.
already know.
my
Yeah,
man.
he already
You
knew.
already
He
know.
understood. He already knew.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So you can I would take the cord
Hmm.
from the TV, and TV's not moving. I don't have to
Yeah.
move the TV. I just take the cord.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But those are the things that again parents don't have the energy sometimes to fight through. I can't tell you how many times over the years that I've had parents say to me, um, maybe you can help me because I don't know what to do. I'm at my wit's end. I can't. And while that sounds strange, I can see how that's the case because there are young people now that will stand toe to toe with you in the seventh, eighth grade and have no problem challenging you and use language that you probably haven't used.
Yeah.
So it is tough. It really is. But I think if there's a parent out there that really wants that support, they need an accountability partner to help
Hmm.
them to say, okay, because I can ask, okay, have you done this, this, and this? Get your checklist out. No, you haven't. Okay, well, why don't we try one thing at a time? Let's see how this works. But I do think that people, when they're frustrated and they're tired and they've got, bills to pay and so many things going on, kids sort of take advantage of that. And somebody mentioned single parenting household. Well,
Hmm.
that's another big part of it. When
Hmm.
mom's got to work, you know. So
Okay.
Or dad. Or dad. Or dad.
Yeah, oh, that, yeah,
Or
yeah,
dad.
but I
Yeah.
mean, like with the skill set that they have now, all of the talents, especially for electronics, the ability to do what they do. Like my next door neighbor teaches. He started out as a teacher in inner city school,
mhm,
high school, but I guess high school is 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. Yeah, but
yeah,
he had some kids that were like hard to reach, but he also started the robotics program. And when he started that, I mean, like the light bulb went off in most of his kids, and now he's a certified drone guy. So they go
Yeah.
to these drone flying contests and they build these drones and do the thing. So I mean, it's just like once you find what interests them, it seems like life gets easier. But again,
Yeah.
it's a challenge. And I'm asking you this: I'm a grandparent of a sixth grader and a fifth grader.
Yes.
So it's like I know
Yeah.
it's like okay,
You
here
got to
we go.
find something. I'm glad you brought
Yeah.
that up, Walt, because so on the other side of that, now I
Hmm.
want to you brought up something that's so important because finding things that are going to help young people build their skills, learn
Hmm.
how to be more social appropriately. Those activities, finding out what young people enjoy, that's the best part of it. And as a teacher, I myself, another thing that I like to model for other educators is how can you support that? So, for instance, my first, when I first started teaching, the first thing I did is I volunteered to help with the robotics program. So I stayed
Hmm.
after school. I had an opportunity to travel with the team and to an international competition. I knew nothing about robotics. I took home the little kit and put one together myself so that I could help the kids.
Hmm.
And then from there, I started a theater club in the
Wow.
same school and taught kids. And I was very fortunate. I worked in a Native American community, and I was able to get these kids who typically are very laid back and quiet. They wrote their plays, produced their plays. They did a wonderful production on anti-bullying and suicide prevention that the entire audience was in tears, and these kids wrote it and produced it. I don't take credit for it. I just
Hmm.
showed up as an
Right.
adult and gave them the space, the safe space to do what they needed to do and communicate what they needed to communicate. And it was amazing. And now I am an esports coach. So our season is starting in a couple of weeks. I also coach esports after school. Again, knew nothing about esports. I just show up because if I show up for the kids, they will show out. And
Right.
that is part of being resilient, is giving them an opportunity to do something, to try something, and in whatever it is that they enjoy, they can express it. Not all kids are jocks. Not all kids want to be,
Right.
running up and down the field with a football. And so that's another way that I build relationship with students because Miss Lyons is not only an English teacher, but she's the esports. She's coach too. Yeah. And this is our third year. And the first 2 years, we went to state, placed second in the state. Again, I coached, knew nothing about it. I just did it. I let the kids
You
do
just
it.
did it.
I just showed
Right.
up.
There you go.
Davina, I'm gonna have to ask you to explain to me
The
what is
esports.
e-sport.
I think I know what it is, but I'm not sure. I think it's like the
Esports,
robotics and stuff like that, but
gaming.
gaming.
That's a
Oh
sport
wow, okay.
now.
That's
Yeah. So
it's a real sport.
Mario Kart, Super Smash Bros. I mean, this is
Wow.
Nintendo. This is what kids are doing, and they're earning money. They're earning scholarship money. Some colleges will give a full ride if you are a good gamer.
Gamer.
So
Wow.
when the principal was looking for someone to coach, I stepped up because my son loved video games and he was good at it. And I
Hmm.
kept wishing that he found, a way to do something as a career, but I didn't know that he could have gone to school with a scholarship for that. So I had to learn. Yeah,
And
So
that's a
did
big thing. I'm
mm,
sorry, but that's a
no.
big thing. A lot of people don't. The times have really changed. We know times has changed, and because of that, you got to stay up with the time.
right,
Even with the subject, like you mentioned already, English was taught the same when Walt went to school, when I went to school, still the same. The noun, the verbs, the adjective,
right,
but all it didn't change. It's still 26 letters. That didn't change. They
right,
maybe took away cursive, so some of them not getting cursive and things like that. But
right.
it's like and to a lot of kids, that's boring. That is so
That's
boring.
right,
That's the exact same thing my grandfather learned. And it's like, wow, my great grandfather, it's like it didn't change.
right,
But it's so many things that they're doing now. They're writing code. They're actually writing programs and doing, and
right,
it's like we're way ahead of what you're trying to put down, and you're locking me down to, this dinosaur when I want to go into the end of the galaxy. So I'm glad that you're an e-coach and that there are
yeah,
programs for people who game. Because what we used to say is all they do is sit there in front of those video games. well, they're never going to do that with their life. You, they
Right,
can the games that they're playing. Someone had to design that game. Someone had to
Mhm.
test
right.
that game. Someone's playing that game, so that it's on the market. Your kid could be that somebody. So
That's right.
it's so huge. It's so huge. So thank you for being a coach for esports. I
Yeah,
kind of figured what it was, and I was
Yeah.
thinking in my mind when you said it was EA Sports. I'm like
Right,
EA
right,
Sports.
right.
But
right.
it went. I
Yeah,
didn't want to. I wouldn't want to go down that road, and I was wrong. So thank you for explaining it for me.
yeah.
Go ahead,
No,
Walt. Go ahead. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
when did you decide you wanted to be a teacher? I mean, did you, at what grade, what age did you decide, hey, I want to be a teacher?
Okay, I'm going to answer this, which is going to reveal my age. But again, my age is public on Facebook. I'm 60.
Mm.
Oh, we're right there
So
together. Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And so at 49, 50 years old, I entered the classroom. Um, I was 49. I turned 50 in my first year of teaching, and it was it, it was by accident completely. Like
Okay.
I was my consulting business was I was ready to just get out there. I had been in corporate for years,
Hmm.
working in finance, working in healthcare industry, a cubicle rat, been living in a cubicle, right? And I kept saying, um, I'm so discontented. Like I feel like I'm not whatever I'm doing, working for a credit card company or whatever. I'm not helping
Hmm.
society, and there was
Okay.
something inside of me that was pushing me to want to do something that made a difference. And a friend of mine said, well, why don't you substitute teach? And then while you're working on your business, you can make money. So I'm like,
Hmm.
okay. And that's how I ended up in the Gila River Indian community. And I started out there. And the principal, I went to apply as a sub, and the principal had gotten a call the night before. Teacher had put in her resignation, her 2 week notice. So he asked me if I would long term sub in that classroom. And I said, sure. It was tough. I was like, wow, this is hard. Teaching is hard. With kids'
Okay.
behaviors and whatnot, especially if you're a sub. But on the
Oh,
other side
yeah.
of that, I fell in love with the kids after
Okay.
the 2 weeks, and she left, and I was still there. And I didn't leave that classroom. 6 years later, I finally left when COVID hit. But I was there because, again, I saw myself in so many of these young people. And
Hmm.
you got to keep in mind, I still, the losing the babies and all of that. I was a mom, but someone had said to me once that, uh, don't worry, one day you'll be mother of many.
Wow.
Mm.
And it was
Here we
really
are.
prophetic, you know.
Hmm.
And I didn't understand at the time what that meant. And it occurred to me when I entered that classroom exactly what that meant, that I would be mother of many. And
Full
I have
circle.
been. And
Yes.
so I think while my son anchored me and I was able to be fulfilled in that way, there's nothing like the fulfillment of having hundreds of kids come through your classroom, and then you see them, you connect with them as adults on
Hmm.
Facebook, and you see their children, and you see how wonderful their lives are, and they still reach out. I have many that still reach out and
Hmm.
check on me and show me love. So that that is just priceless to me.
Wow.
Yeah, and I appreciate you answering that question. I wasn't trying to put you on the spot. I'm thinking maybe, you had younger siblings and you had them helping them with their homework when you were younger and just decided, okay, this is my
No,
calling. Okay, gotcha.
no,
So I wasn't trying to put you on the spot.
absolutely not.
Okay.
No, I stumbled upon this career. I mean, I just kept being encouraged by a friend. Substitute, substitute. We need good substitutes because she worked in
Yeah.
the school district.
Hmm.
And man, that was it. And I didn't even get to really experience being a substitute because
Straight
that was
into
my
it.
one stop. That was it,
Yeah.
you know?
Wow.
So
So
now I have
That's great.
a question for you. The school district that you're in, is it on the reservation or is it because I know
no,
you
not
said
now.
native it's no so there are a lot you have Native American children, but it's
Yes,
not a
I
reservation.
started my career that way. The
Okay.
first 6 years of teaching was all Native American children, and again, beautiful. One thing I loved about, and I do love about that community is that parents, everyone. It's like community. They talk about community policing, well, community teaching, because you're not just. I mean, I think the parents, the community, the even the tribal governor comes into the school, and I know the governor, and I felt very at home, even though I didn't live there,
Mm-hmm.
because it's just more family oriented community. It's all
Right.
about community, and that to me was amazing. But no, I'm only a few miles away from that reservation. I live like very close to it now, but I'm teaching in a public school off res now.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you. Yeah.
Whew, I
Yeah.
still
It's
remember
just
some of my teachers. Good gracious, I every time I come across them, I just apologize. And,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
definitely
Oh, you were
very
that student.
well. Well, most of my progress reports was like he just if he applies himself, he could be an A student. But my thing was A students teach B students how to teach A students teach B students how to work with C students, and my thing was okay. I'm out the class. I'm done. But I learned so much more about life.
Mhm.
Uh, I'm just in experiencing life. But my teachers were definitely they saw something in me that I didn't see in myself for sure. And
Well, and
that was great to me. Yeah.
absolutely. And I think back then, since I believe we
Hmm.
are more like peers,
Yes, ma'am.
um, I think that academics was the main focus, no doubt.
Yes.
We've come
Yes.
into new terms, just like we have gentle parenting. We have social emotional learning in the classroom as well. That's kind of new. That's kind of in the last since I've been teaching, social emotional is something that school counselors and everyone is coming out and saying it's just as important. We want to help their minds, but we also want to help them in other ways. And now that kids are challenged more socially and emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
um, you want to teach lessons where you can have them make connections with the things that they are experiencing. Also with kids of color, I mean, you want to be able to speak a language that they understand. When I teach figurative language, and I'm teaching, I bring up what are some of the things grandma says in the house, or mima, or whatever you call them, right?
Mm-hmm.
What are some of the things that you've heard over the years that makes no sense really, but they say it, the adults say it. Well, that's also metaphors, or that's also figurative language.
Mm-hmm.
um, I remember when I first started teaching, I would say, I haven't done that or seen that since Shep was a pup. And my
Yeah.
kids
Okay.
would go,
What?
see, you got it, you understand,
I'm
right?
sorry, yeah, because I'm old. But yeah, but yeah.
The kids are
Since
like, who's
since Moby
Shep,
Dick
what are
was
you
a guppy,
talking
since Moby Dick was a guppy,
yeah.
about?
a long time ago, a long time ago.
Right. So the language has changed, and I say those things now, and kids are like,
What?
hmm? Well, I learned to stop saying them first of all because
Right,
it's a
right,
waste
right.
of time. But what I do is instead I have them tell me, what are you hearing? What does your grandma say, or papa say? What are some of the things, and how is it that you understand what it means? So that's making it more relevant. Cultural relevance is important also. Although people want to say it's not, it is, because kids want to see themselves somehow in what they're learning. They want to make that connection, and you can't make it for them. They need to make it. You just need to give them the safe space to do it in.
Mm.
So
So
that's
like music, poetry, lyrically speaking, I mean that's it.
right,
Geometry is pool.
right,
Probability is shooting crap.
right,
Rolling dice. We old
right,
enough to remember the movie Claudine, right? When
right.
James Earl Jones grabbed the young boy from the alley, and he made him run his whole crap game down to him. And he said, "Man, you just added, subtracted, multiplied, and divided. If you don't get your butt down to that school tomorrow, you're gonna have
Exactly.
a problem." So once you
Right.
make that connection, it's like, wow, that's really it.
That's right.
So and with music, and nowadays, you can make a video, you can make your music from your phone, and everyone has a phone. You
Right.
know, uh, just writing, and they can produce their own music and bars and 16, just 16s,
Yes.
and it just that is all music. And once they figure that out, it's like, wow, this is what I've been doing the whole time. So
Yeah,
kudos to
music
you
is
for exposing them to
huge.
this kind of stuff. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah,
yeah.
so actually, I'm glad you brought that up. I just wrote an article in LinkedIn in my newsletter about
Okay.
the making the connection with music in the classroom,
Hmm.
because we have removed cell phones as much as possible from the
Okay.
classroom because it's
Okay.
such a distraction, and it causes a lot of issues. However, I play music in the background. I play beats. I play like lo-fi beats, sometimes contemporary. It just depends on the mood. But they enjoy it. I watch
Sure.
kids as they're doing their work, they're bobbing their
Really.
head,
Right.
getting into it. I just don't do lyrics because I don't need
Right.
anything competing with what they're thinking.
Hmm.
However, I can play hip hop beats. They know the songs,
Right.
but they don't hear the words. But
Right.
it makes a huge difference. So just doing something like that. Another thing is I learned when I first started teaching to ask the kids what their favorite music is. So some
Hmm.
of my data gathering about the kids was, tell me your top three favorite songs. And the kids would be like, "Oh, miss, you don't know nothing about my music. You don't." I said, well, "That's true, but I can go on YouTube and I can look it up, or Apple Music." And I would intentionally randomly select songs from different kids, listen to the lyrics, and it told me a lot about them,
Okay.
because your playlist tells a lot about who you are.
Nice.
And that's not a bad or a good, because let me tell you, I'm a huge Tupac fan. So everybody knows that knows me knows I was a fan of Tupac's music. Even
Hmm.
now at 60, I still will play Tupac if I'm in a certain mood.
Hmm.
So this is what the connection I was able to make oftentimes was around two things: sports and music.
Yes. Yes.
Mm.
Ask kids what their favorite sport is or who they follow, or ask them what they're listening to in their playlist, and you'll learn a lot about those kids.
Yes. That's true.
Oh, and it
Absolutely.
is good. And a big thing is, especially with the music and even with sports, you can show what you're playing now was played 20 years ago, 30 years ago, 40 years, because a
Oh
lot of
man,
songs are just
Right.
samples off of other songs. Like
I
that,
love those
that's the
conversations.
same song that so and so played back in 1960.
Sample.
It's
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
a sample. You just sampled it because there's only so many keys on the keyboard. There's only so many strings on the guitar. There's only so many notes that they could
right.
play. So there's
That's
no way that in all these years they didn't cross those notes up and things like that. So
right.
being creative with someone else's music or someone else's and making it and putting it back out there new, that's a creative way of doing it. And you give an honor to the person who wrote it at first. You
That's
know what I'm
right.
saying? It's like, well, this I'm the first one. No, this thing has been sampled 10,000 times, and you'd be surprised who
That's right.
actually made it first. So, but that's awesome. And then another thing I was thinking as y'all were talking was that a lot of times the requirements changed now than it was when Walton it was in school, Davina, when you was in school, when I was in school,
We had to write
um,
in cursive.
where you could you had a new cursive, but the other part is you could get a decent job with without a high school diploma.
Right.
So yeah, now you can it's almost nothing you can do without a high school diploma.
That's
So
right.
it's like you have to now the tables are turned to the point like you have to show me or show the kids that they want you need to get through middle school, get through high school, and have some college that's even to compete in the world, with the way the world is set up today. So it's like,
That's right.
and that's a mindset that a lot of people they were okay with because if my mom didn't go to college or my dad didn't go to college, my grandparents didn't go, why do I need to go? But it's like the tables, it's not the same as when your grandma went through. It's not the same way your mom went through. So you got to now step your game up because that's what the requirement is now. Is totally different than it was even 10 years ago. So
Yeah. And as a teacher, I emphasize metacognition. I talk to the kids all the time about thinking, the process of thinking about thinking.
Right.
How are you accomplishing what you're accomplishing in life? How are you doing your assignment? And I'll ask kids, like, if they do their work, and I'll say, okay, tell me what you were thinking when you did that, or how you reason that out. And the reason why I do that is because um, You're right. It's a lot more competitive. You do have to be a certain level to be able to compete in the workforce, but you have to have some smarts. I mean, yeah, we got street smarts a lot of times, but you have to be strategic. Teaching young people to be critical thinkers is probably more important than teaching them, the lesson itself, the grammar. Listen, you can misspell words all you want to. It doesn't matter anymore. We have Grammarly, we have every computer, every time you type something, it's going to tell you that you misspelled it. That red line is going to come up, right?
Mhm.
So I don't emphasize that any longer. When we were coming along,
Oh
your
yeah.
penmanship needed to be right. If you're going to do cursive, you need to, you know what I mean? Like those things that used to matter. And as an older teacher, I still struggle with making sure that I'm not emphasizing something that doesn't matter to them, that's not relevant any longer. And that's tough.
Mhm.
But what's important now is, and what will always be important, is that you think, that you're able to process, that you're able to make good decisions. So in every lesson, that's what I'm highlighting is how did you reason that out? How did you think about that? And that to me is important.
So the one thing I see that's missing when I talk to younger kids, especially my nieces and nephews and cousins,
Mhm.
it's like the social skills.
Right.
So you mentioned a job interview before.
Hmm.
I think Jack did.
Hmm.
I go to a job interview, got on a shirt, got on probably my uncle's tie, my father's tie, and I have a clipboard and I'm filling out an application for a job I know I can't get. But at least I got to go in, have a conversation with somebody, look them in the eye, give them a firm handshake.
Hmm.
And I knew I would get the job, but she would tell me they were impressed with my dress. They were impressed with my conversation. I looked them in the eye. I spoke directly to them. So now you can have two kids, 10 kids in the same room talking to each other by texting, right? I
That's
mean,
right.
even when I have these conversations with young men and young women, it's
Hmm.
like you're dating a person's representative,
Hmm.
because you don't really know that person. You don't get to talk to that person. So at some point, when they graduate high school, if they don't get in eighth grade, ninth grade, 10th grade, 11th grade, 12th grade, now they're out and they have to go into an environment where they can't communicate with the world. And
Right.
regardless uh, uh, of how old fashioned we are, the world is still run by a generation that's
Right.
not theirs. So they have to be able to integrate themselves, their conversations, their game, so to speak, into that. I mean, so you can't stand on this island by yourself. It's not like you can just go in a room in this vacuum and just play video. I'm not say play video games, but just not
Hmm.
communicate with people, not speak to people. So how do you
Hmm.
address that? I mean, like even knowing how to eat, because like you said, do they eat together? If not, everybody's eating in front of the television. So if you take them to, if they're not in a debutante or they're gonna go to a botillion, when do they learn how to eat at the table? When do they know how to set a table
Right.
properly? When do they know how to do all of those things? And if they're not getting it at home, how do you make them understand that hey, one day you're going to need this skill set that you may not want to learn?
Well, I mean, I'll say first of all that socioeconomics plays a big part in all of what you're talking
Hmm.
about. So you're going to always have different, kids that come from different backgrounds, different home, and we
Hmm.
don't. I as a teacher, we often don't have a clue other than when we communicate with a parent
Hmm.
what type of home they're coming from, unless they share some things, and
Right.
sometimes kids do, but at the end of the day, it's like I said earlier, it's what you model. It's what
Hmm.
I often say, no matter what a kid is going through at home, um, I am responsible for making sure that when they're in my room, they're safe. As far as I can see, they're safe
Hmm.
in my environment. If it's 50 minutes a day, then it's
Right.
my job to make
Yes.
sure that they feel safe in my environment and that I'm
Hmm.
giving them everything I can possibly give them to enrich them in their lives. However, you can, and it doesn't take much to plant a
No,
seed.
no, it
It
doesn't.
really doesn't. So again, if you've engaged young people and you have their attention and they respect you, they admire you, that goes a long way.
Absolutely.
It goes a long way. I in my community, I run into kids all the time in the grocery store. Again, where it's a small town,
Hmm.
and honestly, I can't go to Walmart or Fry's or anywhere and not run into one of my students. And oftentimes, the parents will say, "Oh my God, you're so and so's favorite teacher. You know,
Great.
you're the favorite teacher." And I mean, I appreciate that. And I feel good about that, so I don't have a problem with sharing that openly, that I
Hmm.
work hard for that. I work hard to
Absolutely.
not be their friend, because
Right.
that's not the structure they need, but to provide, and so conversations about what you're talking about, just like you sat here and said it to me. Hey, you're going to grow up, you're going to have an interview, you're going to do, have that conversation even as a teacher. And the
Hmm.
more you say it, you're planting a seed. And one
Seed. Right.
day they may have that first interview in their pajamas, but after the outcome,
Oh yeah.
That's right.
because they'll wear the
Oh
pajamas
man.
to school or
I'm like,
anywhere.
what in the world? Pajamas and bonnets. I'm like, what did I miss? I'm like,
Hey,
you got to
hey,
be
look,
kidding me.
them kids, look, they figured it out. That's very comfortable. I don't have no problem. I love it. I was like, I'm gonna wear these pajamas, my Crocs. All them
Like,
kids have figured it out,
man.
man. I'm telling you.
Hmm.
So,
That's right.
Davina, we have your website up on the
Thank
screen.
you.
So,
Yeah,
and if anyone wants to get in touch with you, is this the best way to get in touch with you? Is
it
through that?
is.
Okay, all right.
Yes,
So, and I know we went all over the different directions and all, but I really think the point was made. I mean, I want to thank you for the service that again that you're doing with the kids there in Arizona. I know there's a lot of people that might have been listening to this and going to listen to this that will wish that you were in their schools, because the schools are going through a lot right now, and
Yes.
so and it's been a true blessing to have you up here on the screen or on the stage with us. So if I was thinking of one, helping you, or two, becoming a teacher, what advice would you give me as a person who was thinking about walking in your path and doing the things that you're doing? What advice would you give me?
I would say that if there's something within you that says you need to make a difference, that you need to do something that society will appreciate, then I would say go ahead, become a teacher, understanding that you'll be challenged on from one end of the spectrum to the other, but it is rewarding. It will only make you more resilient. It will make you appreciate a lot, but you're going to change lives, and that there's just no there's nothing better to me than knowing that I've contributed to the lives of
Yes.
hundreds of people.
That's
Mm.
true.
Well, I'm
Great.
glad you didn't say run. Don't do it. Don't do
No,
it.
I would never
No,
say that.
no,
I
she's
want
having too
more
much
people
fun.
to become teachers that
All
really
right.
want to become teachers.
Like run. Don't do
Oh,
it.
and you gotta like kids, by the way. You gotta
Oh, you
like
gotta like
That
kids.
it.
helps. That helps.
That might help a little bit. That might help
Yeah,
a
it's
little
not
Yeah,
about
that
the
helps.
pay. Don't
bit.
do it for the pay.
So,
Yeah.
and that's what I was just about to say.
Don't do it.
My aunt was a teacher,
Hmm.
and 3 degrees, the whole 9 yards.
Yeah,
But she said, money will not sustain you for the rest of your life. So if you find a career that the old cliche,
yeah,
that you would do for free, find that thing and do that, because like you say, the teachers are definitely needed. And
yeah.
I appreciate you. And like I said, every chance I get, I apologize to one of my teachers. I just sometimes I connect with them just because it's like,
Yeah,
hey, something they may have said to me one day to just
yeah,
not that I hadn't heard it before, but they
yeah,
showed an interest in me, and I appreciated that. And I try to live my life like that. When I'm teaching, like training classes and stuff like that, it was just like, yeah. So that's a heck of a feeling to see somebody hanging off the side of a fire truck and say, "Hey, Captain Johnny, good to see you." That's a
That's
great feeling, and you can't.
that's right.
Money will never replace that. So good for
Hmm.
you. Good
Hmm.
for you.
yeah, for
Good
real.
for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So we're getting ready to close out the show. I'm not sure if Boss B is able to come. I know she's going through a lot of storms in her area.
Right.
But if she's able to come up, she can come up. If not, definitely take care of yourself. I know she can hear because she's still dropping links.
Okay.
Miss Davina, we're going to ask you to hang over when we close the show out and talk to us a little bit in the back, if you don't mind.
Okay.
Okay, yeah. And for all of those who are here, we thank you all for being here with us today on the Iron Sharpening Iron Show. I know Boss B is back there fighting the storm. She talking about
Yes.
Annie Am. So she said it's rough out there. She said she's not in Kansas, but it's rough out there. So I know that Mama Jack, Sharon Jackson was in the chat today. Denise Jackson, thank you for both of y'all showing up for us today. My others keepers is was here. Patty was here. And it's and a couple other, make sure I don't miss anybody, but thank you for each and every person who came through today. Do know that next Wednesday is the Battle of the Sexes. So every Wednesday, the last Wednesday of every month, we do the Battle of the Sexes, where we put 3 men and 3 women on the stage, and we discuss the men's, not men's, but the differences between men and women and how we agree, and sometimes we don't agree. You
Say
know
it
that
ain't so.
the last the last Saturday of every month, and that's coming up as well, is the we be jamming live, and then the last Sunday of the month is the Gentleman's Journal. And then for those who don't know, and if you're just hearing this news, but I'll let you know, the first Wednesday of October, so the first Wednesday of October, that'd be October 1st, we'll be having a new spinoff from the show, and that's called The Ladies' Diary. So that's the time where we just put all women on the stage, and we have a panel of women discussing women's topics. And I will step off the stage, and Boss B will be on the stage for that one. So, as you were saying, Davina, we doing some journaling. We got the gentleman's journal, and the ladies' diary. So we keeping notes. We keeping notes. We keeping notes.
Good.
So, and
Copious notes.
yeah. So, but thank you for being a guest on the show today. We had definitely, I had a good time learning from
I
you,
absolutely
and
did.
I appreciate all the work that you're doing.
Thank you.
And you're now a Hall of Famer. So, if anytime you need to come up, if anything you want to share, and you want us to put it up on the show, you're more than welcome. And we'll be calling on to you, maybe be on the panel with the ladies' diary or the battle of the sexes, because we always need those points of views, and I appreciate it. But
I
if you
would
can
love
take
to.
over, yo,
Absolutely.
thank you.
Yes, I
Hey,
would love to.
yeah, that's what I'm talking
You
about.
guys are
All you out
wonderful.
there that's listening, remember to hit that hashtag grow and glow together. Get your name put on the wheel. And we're still going to 90-day challenge. So go ahead and visit 3 channels. Watch one of their videos. Subscribe if you can. If not, it's okay. But leave a comment and put that hashtag grow and glow together. And that's proof that we are stronger together. Each one reach one. We can all grow and glow. Until next time, we tell you to stay blessed, take care of yourself, and stay sharp. And we'll talk to you next time. Thank you. All right.